When life throws you lemons, make this lemon slice. I have made it probably 60 or 70 times since I found it a few years ago, and every time I make it people say, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful. I make it at work, that's why I've made it so many times. It is really easy to make. It comes from the Delicious website, and I'm sure you'll make this one again and again, and this is how it goes. So the first thing to do is put 85 grams of softened butter into either a food processor, or you can use a stand mixer or a handheld mixer. I usually use that at work. 85 grams of icing sugar, and process that until it's well combined. And then to the food processor, add 300 grams of plain flour, and process this now until it forms a ball. I seriously need a new food processor. Mike! Mike! Oh, this is so frustrating. I got it, don't worry. So it doesn't actually form a ball, but close to it. Or it might, depending, my butter was quite soft. And then just put this in a large Lamington tray. I'll leave the measurements for this tray I used in the recipe. And either using a floured spoon or wet hands, which is I find easier, just press this into the tray. By using wet hands, it doesn't stick to your hands much, and you can really get it into the corners. And this goes into the refrigerator for 15 minutes. Then after 15 minutes, remove it from the fridge and place it in the oven. Now the recipe says 170 degrees, but it doesn't specify whether that's for a fan-forced oven or just a conventional oven. So I usually cook it at 160 degrees Celsius fan-forced, which is 180 conventional. But it depends on your oven, and that in the background is Mike's on his motorbike getting ready to go for a ride. So after 15 minutes, remove it from the oven, and while it's cooling, I'll make the filling. Then it goes back in the oven. Now the recipe calls for 4 lemons, and it says just to have the grated lemon rind of 2, but I always have the grated lemon rind of at least 3. And I end up with about that much rind from 3 lemons. Now you need the juice of 4 lemons and at least 90 ml. And depending on how juicy your lemons are, you might need another one. Oh, I've ended up with a lot. I'll have to measure it. My lemons were extra juicy. Now into a bowl, crack 4 whole eggs and add 400 grams of caster sugar and whisk those 2 together until they're well combined. Then add 75 grams of plain flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, the lemon rind, and the lemon juice. That was about 100 mils. And stir that together gently. Then pour this on top of your cooled base, and then pop it back in the oven for about 30 minutes or until it's set and the top is lightly browned. So all ovens are different. I actually left this in for 40 minutes, and if you touch it, it will feel set. And it will be a lovely light golden brown colour on the top. So what I like to do now is I let it completely cool down, and then I pop it in the fridge for an hour before I slice it. So the lemon slice has actually been in the fridge for a couple of hours just because time got the better of me, but you don't have to leave it that long in the fridge. Carefully remove it from the tin. Peel the paper away, and a lovely finishing touch is a nice layer of sifted icing sugar. And this will keep for like 4 or 5 days in the fridge, and it actually freezes okay as well. And get a sharp knife and cut it into any size you wish. And what you end up with is a shortbread base and a creamy custard type of centre. And you can serve it just as it is or with some lovely whipped cream. And you know, the funny thing is, I've made it all those times, except I've never tasted it until today. I used gluten-free plain flour instead of regular flour, and it worked perfectly. Thank you, Delicious website, for this recipe. It's such a keeper. And thank you so much for watching. If you've got lemons, make this one. It's absolutely delicious. And just a little update with the lemon tiles. Mike had a few days off last week to do a few things around the house, and I didn't notice until day 3 that he actually grouted the tiles, and he used black grout, and they came up really lovely. But they did take a bit of paint off a few of them, not many. So what I just do now is go over with the paintbrush and fix them up. But he said he was super careful, but it didn't happen to all of the tiles, just a few. But I think the black grout works really well. And I'll show you what I mean. This one, you probably saw it in the video if you look close. This one was, the paint came off quite a bit, but the rest were fine. Just little bits here and there, I just go over with a paintbrush. And because they'll be permanently on the wall, it only takes 30 days to dry completely.